Hi there! In this video, I'm going to show you how to add a Google Map to your Tilda website and customize it. I'll be using block T143 from the other category as an example, but you can use this tutorial to set up any block with a map, as the steps you will learn are relevant to all map blocks on Tilda. Suppose I'm creating a website for a music festival and need to include a map so attendees can easily locate the venue. To do this, I'm adding a block featuring a Google Map. You can find this block, T143, in the Other category. Right after the block is added to the page, the map displays a "For development purposes only" message. No need to worry. This is simply to inform you that an API key is missing, which is required by the Google Maps platform for a map to work correctly. I will guide you through the process of generating an API key shortly, but first I'll configure the block itself. Let's start with the Content tab. Under Online Map Service, you can choose a map provider. I'll leave the default value here, Google Maps. Under Map API Key, I enter the API key I've generated beforehand. Again, I'll be showing in detail how to get one later in the video. Let me save the changes and refresh the page. As you can see, after adding the key, the message disappears. By adjusting the zoom parameter, you can modify the scale of the map. In this field, you can use any numerical value from 0, the farthest view, to 19, the closest view. I enter 16 and save the changes. Now the map is displayed closer and in more detail. The Markers parameter allows you to relocate an existing pin or marker on the map or add a new one. Under Title, you can assign a name to your marker that will be displayed on mouse hover and click. Let me change the default title to Main Entrance. You can edit the marker's location either by entering latitude and longitude values into the corresponding field or by manually searching on the actual map. Since I don't know precise coordinates, I click on the Find on the Map button. Here you can simply drag and drop the marker or enter the address into the search box. I type in Central Park, for example, and then manually move the pin to a supposed main entrance. After you're satisfied with the marker's new location, click OK and save the changes. You can see that now the pin has moved places. Let me quickly add a second marker by clicking the Add Marker button, then assign the name, then move it to the right place, and save the changes. As you can see, now there are two markers on the map, one for the entrance and the other for the stage. You can further customize markers by clicking the Show More Settings button. The first parameter here is the marker action. It can make it so the information from the title and description fields is displayed on click, which is kind of self-explanatory, or by default. In this case, the tooltip will always appear above the marker it belongs to. Another marker with an unaltered setting option displays the tooltip on click. You can also choose to hide the marker under the same setting. I'll show how it can be of use in a minute. To personalize the appearance of the marker, use the Marker Style parameter. By choosing the Color marker, a palette will appear, allowing you to select a custom color for the marker. Upon choosing the Icon parameter, the Upload File button pops up. Before uploading a custom icon for the marker, make sure it is resized to 48 by 48 pixels and saved in PNG format. Let me quickly upload an icon. You can see that now, instead of a default map pin, there is a custom marker icon. In case your custom marker appears slightly misplaced relative to the default pin, you can reposition it. To move the marker, use the Marker Offset setting. This setting requires two numeric values separated by a comma. The offset values can range from -48 to 48. I type in -13, -40, and save the changes. You can see that the marker has slightly moved and now more accurately flags up the correct location, the stage. Right, we're done with the Content tab for now. Moving on to the Settings tab. Here we can customize how the map looks. First, let's adjust how much space the map will take up on the page. Under the Width parameter, I select 10 columns, and under Height, I type in 500 pixels. Let's save the changes and check how it looks. You can see that the map looks more narrow than before, but takes up a bit more space in height. The border radius setting allows you to round the map's corners. I type in 20 pixels here and save the changes. Now the corners appear more rounded. Under the Map Style parameter, you can choose one of the 3 color styles for the map: Default, Dark, and Light. On top of the available styles, you have the option to customize the map by coloring it. To do that, under Map Hue, choose the preferred color. This setting comes in especially handy in case you want the map to match the background color. Please note that the Map Hue option is only available for the light and dark styles, not for the default one. Let me undo the changes. Under Map UI Language, you can set up the language of the map's interface. Note that if no language is specified here, the map will display the language setup in the user's browser. To ensure English is the default language, I type in EN here. The route settings allow you to build and display a route on the map by connecting markers with a line. This is particularly useful if you want to not only flag up your location, but also highlight the fastest way to get there. To do this, I check the Connect Markers box. Then I set up the line size, 5 pixels for example, and finally, I specify the line color. Let it be orange. Let's save the changes and see what we've got. You can see that now there is a route from the entrance to the stage. To make the route more precise, add additional markers and hide them. To do this, let's get back to the Content tab. Add a new marker, specify its location, hide it, and rearrange the order of the markers so the new one is second in the list. I save the changes. And you can see that now the route runs through the park more accurately. Let's get back to the Settings tab again. Among the last settings for us to look at are paddings. They can be of use to adjust the display of the map relative to other blocks on the page so the layout doesn't look too cluttered. Let's increase the top padding and the bottom padding. Choosing the right color for the block's background can either make it stand out or blend seamlessly with the rest of the layout. I change the color to the one that is set up for the whole website and save the changes. As you can see, there is now more white space around the map, and the background color is consistent for all blocks on the page. Right, we're done with customizing the map. Let's move on and generate an API key now. API keys for Google Maps are created using a service called Google Cloud Console. You can find the link to the console in Tilda's Help Center. After creating a new Google account, I go to Google Cloud Console. Here, I click the Get Started for Free button. Next, under Country, I specify the country of issuance of my bank card. Since in this example, I represent a music event, not a company, under What best describes your organization or needs, I select Other. After that, I check the box agreeing with the terms and conditions of the service. It's highly recommended to read through the links provided carefully before signing up for Google Cloud, since Google Maps isn't free. To proceed, I click Continue. Next, I select Individual under Account Type. Please note that you cannot change the account type once you've registered. Below, I fill out the address field and the name field. To complete the sign-up, you need to verify your identity by providing a payment method. So under the payment method, I add my bank card information. Once all required fields are filled out, I click Start My Free Trial. After that, I land on the Google Cloud homepage. If it's your first time signing up for the service, a free trial will be automatically activated for your account. Again, it's recommended to thoroughly review the terms of the free trial before you start using the service. On the Welcome page, you're asked to provide additional information about your business. Let's skip this step for now. If you sign into an existing account you've had for some time, and the trial period for it has expired, to create an API key you'll need to enable or reopen a billing account by adding or updating a valid payment method. To do that, once on the Welcome page, click Billing. Then find Payment Method on the left sidebar and click Add Payment Method. Once you submit your credit or debit card details and your billing information is processed, your account will be reactivated. Please check the current applicable Google terms and conditions for the free trial period, as well as API pricing for the paid account before signing up for the services. Now let's get back to an API key creation process. After successfully registering, I am redirected to the Google Cloud homepage, where I'm presented with all the main information about the automatically created project. Let's create a new project manually. To do this, I click on the My First Project icon right next to the Google Cloud logo and select New Project. Here, under Project Name, I enter the title for my project. Let it be HolaFest. If you plan to create several API keys for different websites, you can specify what this project belongs to by adding a location in the next field. Since I need only one API key, I proceed by clicking the Create button. I end up on the Google Cloud homepage once again, but this time, as you can see, it's for my newly created project. To access the main dashboard, I click on the project's name located in the center of the page. From there, I find the APIs and Services tab in the left column, and click Enabled APIs and Services. Next, I click on the plus button that reads Enable APIs and Services right below the search box. Once in the API library, I find the Maps category and click the View All button. Then I scroll down the page until I find Maps JavaScript API, the one that is meant for embedding a regular map into a website. Here I click the Enable button. Upon clicking on the button, an API key is automatically generated. I copy the key. Now all that's left is to configure it. To do this, I click on the Go to the Google Maps platform button. Here, under Select Restriction Type, I choose HTTP refers, websites, and a new field pops up. I enter my website's URL in the Referrer field and click Restrict Key. Don't skip this step, as restricting a key protects from any potential misuse or security breaches by unauthorized parties. We're almost done. After creating an API key, you land on the Google Maps Platform Overview page. From there, I find the Keys and Credentials tab in the left column and click on it. Here, I locate the API key I just created. Let's finish setting it up. To ensure that the map is displayed correctly both on the website and in Tilda's page editor, let's add its URL as one of the properties. To do this, I click on the Add button under Website Restrictions. Then, add the page editor's URL, the one that's displayed in your browser's address bar when editing the page. In other words, not the public URL, but the one starting with tilde.cc and containing the project and the page IDs. And click Done. Under API Restrictions, I select the Restrict Key option. Then choose Maps JavaScript API from the drop-down menu and click OK. That is all for configuring the key, so I click the Save button. Please note that it can take some time for the changes to take effect. Here I click Show Key and copy the API key for the map. Now let's get back to Tilda. Once on Tilda, I click on the Content tab of the block. Then under Map API Key, I paste the copied API key and save the changes. Don't forget to refresh, and then publish the page. All done. Please note that you can add an API key not only in the Content tab of a block, but also in the site settings. It can be particularly useful in case you have multiple pages with a block containing a map. By adding the key through site settings once, you'll spare yourself from having to add it for every block on your website. If you add an API key for a map in both the Content tab of a block and the site settings, Tilda will prioritize the one specified in the Content tab. Let's add the key using Site Settings. Once in the project's dashboard, I click Site Settings. Then the More tab. I scroll the page down, and then under Maps API Keys, I paste my API key. Don't forget to save the changes and republish all pages. One last thing. If after adding an API key to the block, the map displays correctly, but the search bar is not loading requested locations and shows an address not found message instead, it probably means that a so-called geocoding API is missing. This API converts typed addresses to map coordinates. To fix that, go to the API library while in Google Cloud. Then locate Geocoding API in the Maps category and click Enable. After that, the search should function properly. You can find detailed step-by-step instructions on how to add and set up a Google Map for your website, as well as generate an API key in the Tilda Help Center. The link is under this video. Since Google Cloud Services update the terms of use regularly, we strongly recommend thoroughly reviewing them when signing up. Thanks for watching and good luck with creating user-friendly websites. Bye!